So the car you see behind me is a 2004 Volvo S40 2.4i. We're going to be jumping underneath the vehicle in the rear, and we're going to be replacing the rear stabilizer links for the vehicle itself. Now, how do you know that it needs to be replaced? I'm going to show you exactly that. I'm going to show you how to replace it, and as you can see, I'm not going to lift the vehicle up. The vehicle is going to be on the ground. I'm going to jump under. I'm going to do it myself. So I guess you could say more or less this is a DIY on the rear stabilizer links on the 2004 Volvo S40. Okay, once again, this is the vehicle. This is the 2.4 Volvo S40, 2.4i Volvo S40 four-door sedan. Now, how do you know you need to replace the rear stabilizer links? Because we're in the back of the vehicle now. If we just go underneath, I'll show you here, you will be able to see them. So you can see there, see the two things hanging. You can, there we go. You can see both of them, the pointy things coming out of the, from up underneath the vehicle. You can see where it just looks like rods just hanging down. Now I did the wide shot so you can see, but you can see there, it's completely gone. That one has a bit left, but if you come over to the other side, you can see where there again, that is completely gone. So I'm going to jump under, I'm going to replace those, and I'll show you how, just how easy it is. You've got your sway bar, you can see on the bottom here, and then right above that, of course, you've got your link. We've got to take the bolt off the top. This whole thing falls out. Now, bushings are completely gone, but I'm going to show you the bushings on the brand new one, so you'll see what that's supposed to look like. All right, so we're going to proceed with taking that off. Right now, I have a 15 millimeter. Of course, this will go up top here for the top bolt, and then, of course, to go along the bottom, I've got a 16 millimeter. So I've got to hold the bolt up top in place, which I'll do with an adjustable wrench, and then I'm going to come back with a socket wrench and do the bottom bolt. All right, so I've got this completely off, and just to show you what this looks like, and you can see the bolt right up top there. You can also see me unscrewing the link. Now, so that's off. That's the bottom side of it. This is your bolt, which is supposed to have a bushing which goes up top. And then, of course, this is supposed to be a bushing here, but you can see all the rubber, all the support's gone. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off, and we'll proceed with getting the other. All right. So as you can see here, I use my wrench here to create or pull the sway bar down a little bit. Of course, it was pretty sturdy, so I'm using this to give me a little room. I've got my bushing in between my sway bar and my control arm. Going to insert my new link here, and you just want to make sure it's properly aligned. And of course, my link now sticks out up top, so all I have to do now is apply the bushing and the new bolt. So we'll go ahead and do the bushing first. So now I've got the bolt on top, bushing here, bushing in between the sway bar and the control arm, and I got a bushing up top. So all I need to do now is just tighten it down. You don't want to tighten it much. So let me go ahead and get locked into place up top here. And of course here, we just took it off by going clockwise, counterclockwise. So we want to go clockwise. Now that's a 16 millimeter, that will not fit. So I'm going to have to come back out and readjust. We're going to go from a 16 to a 17. All right, so now that I have the 17 millimeter, and I'm just going to go clockwise. Oh, that's clockwise, yeah. All right, so we're just screwing it back on. I mean, you don't want to get too tight because you're going to kill your bushings, but you do want to get it nestled in here rather tight, and so they can press. All right. there's a certain torque you're supposed to do. Hey, not the professional, don't have that torque spec. So I'm just going to get it in here to a point where I think it's necessary, and to where I feel a little bit of tension here. All right, so we're going to stop right there. You can see my bushing on the bottom here, bushing in between the sway bar and the control arm. Got my bolt secure up top and my bushing up top as well. I'm all done, folks. So when you look, this has been replaced with the bushings on the link here, which connects the sway bar and the control arm. So all done here. I'm going to move over to the other side. All right, so this time I got you with a slightly different view. You can see here bushings are gone. Got my link, bushing gone in the center. This one still has it, but it's worn greatly. Gonna redo my bolt up top there again. Now, of course, if you remember, the new bolt I had to remove with the 17. So we're simply going to take the 17 off, replace the 17, of course, with the 16 here. So we're going to go ahead and replace that, as you can see on my socket wrench, to get the bolt off of the old one. We're going to go ahead and use my adjustable wrench here to lock the top in place. So let's go ahead and get that in place here. Get it locked. All right. So that's locked in. We're going to take the bolt and we're going to spin it counterclockwise. Right. So fairly easy. We'll go ahead and take this off. And it looks like this sway bar is not as tight as the other one. It's not as close to the control arm. So it should be fairly easy to get the bushing in between there. Of course, it's a little bit easier when you got a, assistant or whatsoever, but not, as you probably noticed from my channel, not exactly an advantage of mine. All right, so let's go ahead and get this link off. All right, bushing just fell out, bushing here, and of course I could take the bolt off the top. All of that looks like that. That's a bolt, that's a bushing. As you can see, that's worn. That's the old link there with a bushing still on it. We're going to take the new one. All right, so there again, that's exactly what it looks like. That's what the old one's supposed to look like. You can see where it's worn. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and just take the top bolt off here. And so the top bolt, let's move all this old stuff out of the way. All right, so that's what it looks like. We're going to take the top bushing off. We're going to take the center bushing off. That leaves the bottom bushing, which is still on the link here. So we'll take that and move it over. So first thing I have to do, this is my sway bar. I've got to get enough separation to get this in between the control arm and, of course, the sway bar here. So, look at that. As I mentioned before, this is not quite as tight as the other one. So I got my bushing in between my sway bar and my control arm. So now I'm just going to take my... goes right back up, and you can see it sticking out of the top here. Got my link in between, bottom bushing, center bushing, between the sway bar and the control arm. Now I'm going to take my new bushing here, and we'll put it right up top. And I do believe that I have enough tread on the top to get my bolt on. So look at that. So we'll go ahead and lock that back, or screw that back in place. All right. So now that's screwed back into place. We're going to get my adjustable wrench here. Let's get that locked on. All right, so that's locked on, and then we're going to come back and we're just going to go clockwise this time. So we're going to go completely opposite of where we were. Oh, still got the 16 millimeter on, so we're going to kick that off. And I do believe, as you can tell, I'm on an incline in the driveway. So we're going to go ahead and put the 17 millimeter on the socket wrench here. And all I have to do now is just tighten. Okay, that would be the wrong way. There we go. Oh, that's the wrong way. All right, so this is the right way. All right, so I can see everything compressing here regarding my bushings. So we're just going to go ahead and continue. And you can see I've got my adjustable wrench locked in on the shock absorber here. So it's in place with resistant. And all I got to do is continue to go ahead and just, all right, so we're going to put that there. And I can continue to tighten. Now there again, there are torque specs for this. Don't have that. Hey, if I mess it up, you know what I'll do? I'll just go ahead and order another one. All right, so just make sure everything's aligned properly, which looks good there. And what I do, I just continue to tighten it until I get a little much feedback from the wrench here to where it's a lot of resistance, I should say. All right, so I'm getting that resistance right here. I'm just going to go ahead and stop there. Yeah, so I've got everything in replace. Everything replaced. I've got my other side locked down. That's as much as I want to tighten it. Yep, got the top here on. So yeah, I've just replaced the bushing. Bushing, link going in between, connecting the stabilizer bar and the control arm. So as you can see, I'm between the driveway and the car here. But yeah, I've just replaced the stabilizer bar links with the bushings. So now I shouldn't get the or the squeaks when I from my stabilizer bar when I do, of course, sharp turns. The vehicle tends to sway or whatsoever, so I won't get that. So it should be completely comfortable, and this is something I've just completed on my own, which you can too, following my instructions. So thank you for tuning in, and definitely subscribe.